What if you were never really waiting to be chosen by someone else? What if you were just waiting to remember you were worth choosing all along? Welcome to Wandering the Wild Mess with Heather Morgan. I am so happy you're here. All right, I let that one sit with y'all, and I hope you do. But this is kind of an impromptu change to what I wanted to talk to y'all about on this episode, but I feel like it came to me for a reason and will likely resonate with you. If you've ever felt like, why didn't someone choose me? And I think that's very much like a universal feeling. Obviously, I yap with everybody, so I've talked to a lot of people, and so many people have had those experiences in their life where someone didn't choose them and they wanted them to. And the wild thing about it is a lot of times, like, not choosing you means like they leave you and go meet someone else, or there's like infidelity, cheating, and all of that. But sometimes it's just like they just don't, it doesn't work out. And then you kind of reflect about your own self-worth. And that can be like a very difficult thing. And sometimes it's not even like a relationship. It may be like you're dating and you feel like no one's picking you, no one's choosing you. I have a lot of friends like that. They're like, I don't know why no one's picking me, no one's choosing me, like why I can't get a second, third date, whatever it is, or all of that. And something came across my mind last night and I had to unpack it. And that's really this season, is me moving in alignment and really just like self-reflecting when things come up. And I had this big epiphany of my whole past relationships in my whole life. It's like it all flooded back. And I was like, a lot of time I was unpacking that I wanted to be chosen. And it doesn't mean like I'm thinking specifically, I'll tell a story of like 3 pivotal relationships in my like history. And they're all for different reasons, and in each of them I could find a place where I didn't feel chosen. And whether it was, and I talked about this before, like whether it was my ex-husband and like his vices, or maybe my first love and, his mind in another place. And then this only relationship I had since my marriage, which wasn't really significant, but it was because of what it showed me. And I also had some feelings of not being chosen by someone that wasn't healed, right? And even though I walked away from all of those relationships and I'm the one that finally left, I stayed longer than I should have because it wasn't for me. But yet I felt like I wasn't chosen by them. But when I looked back, I realized that I didn't really choose them either. But it was easier just kind of put the focus on, well, because they didn't choose me. But that wasn't it at all. So I'd like to kind of like unpack this to kind of get the wheels turning in your mind on the way that I was thinking and how it's really reframed this for me into a place of like, okay, now I understand it. So when you are in this relationship or you're dating someone or and it goes the other way and you feel not chosen, not picked. A lot of times you don't even know why you want it. It's not really that you want that relationship with that person. You literally just want to be chosen by them or just chosen. And I think when I started to think about that, because I had put so much like kind of like sadness on it. And I'm a super happy person. We've unpacked this already. But when I wanted to like figure out, okay, I'm sad because I didn't feel chosen. But then I'm like, but you didn't even really want that for your life. You didn't. But you stayed. And by staying where you didn't really want to be was not choosing yourself. And so maybe the person that you needed to choose all along, that you needed to choose you, was you. And it like smacked me like a ton of bricks. And it sounds maybe obvious when I'm saying it now, but if you choose yourself, there's really nothing outside of you that needs to be chosen. And I recently put up a poem on my blog, and it was that quote. I kind of compared the analogy that if you teach a man, if you feed a man, or what the fish analogy. Oh my gosh. Like if you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. But if you just give him a fish, obviously you just feed him for a day. I'm saying it wrong, but you know the quote. And I realized, and this is just interesting that it came in the same time, that's the same. And in the poem I talk about, when you're with someone that feeds you with love, but you cannot give that to yourself, you stay to be fed. Whether that's your ego, whether that's your comfort, whether that's whatever. Because you don't want to feel the hunger of not having that because you haven't learned to feed yourself. You don't know how to fish. And that's the same. You want the fisherman so bad, not because the fisherman's so great, and maybe they are, but for the most part, you end up creating this dependency on the need to be fed by someone else outside yourself because you've never learned to choose yourself or love yourself. And I know that's hard to hear because I know it's easy to be like, oh, I love myself. Yes, I do. And I hope you do. I truly do. But I, as someone that is super happy and positive, I really thought for a long time, like, of course I love myself. But then I'm like, well, Heather, why are you staying longer in places you don't want to be if you truly do love yourself? Because that is just not what you would do if you did. So action's louder than words, really. And I'm trying to think of an analogy that would even relate to this. But I mean, I guess if you're like a parent or you think about someone you care about in your life, and if they're somewhere they don't want to be, you're not going to just keep them there. Like if you felt like it's not safe, it's not the right place, like you're not just going to stay just to make them stay when they don't want to be. Because you love them, you care about them. You're like, okay, we're not going to be here anymore. This isn't for us. Let's go somewhere else. Like, this isn't how I want you to feel. Like, you shouldn't feel second best. You shouldn't feel defeated. You shouldn't feel beat down. You shouldn't feel like you don't matter. So let's take you out of that situation, okay? Let's take you somewhere safe. Well, that's you. That's you realizing you have to be that person, that advocate for yourself to say, this isn't where I belong. I need to go. And that's not just, it doesn't have to just be relationships, but I think that could be even, the job that you're in or friendships that you have, any of that. But I think when it comes to relationships, it's just easy to be like, oh, this is good enough. This is just going with the time. But in the middle, your soul hurts. Because not only are you not feeling chosen in this place with that person, and deep down you're not, even if they stay sometimes. And I look back to relationships that lasted longer than they should have. And it was definitely like maybe just a comfort thing to stay. I mean, even for me, right? Like I had said before, like I knew I should have left. I mean, even the last relationship that I had that was not very long, like I knew from the beginning it wasn't for me. My soul knew like this isn't right. This isn't, and don't get me wrong, it taught me a lot of things and I'm very grateful for each experience and lesson. But I knew from the get-go, like this is not the vibe, like this is not for me. And I stayed against what my soul said. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. Is when you know and you stay, can you stop and ask yourself, why am I staying? And don't get me wrong, everyone has a different journey. So some people, I know girls, they're not marrying for love, And maybe even men, like they're maybe marrying for appearance, and maybe a connection with another soul isn't that important to you. Do you? But if it is, and you feel in your heart that like, gosh, I really want to feel like accepted and loved by this person, you have to look and go, but do I accept and love myself if I'm staying where I don't feel that way? Because I can tell you, as I've evolved in this journey of, self-discovery, self-love, self-reflection, all of the things, moving in alignment, I've realized so much that I will not stay in places that don't feel right for me. And this isn't me being like high and mighty, like I have boundaries, I need this. It's not an ego thing. It's just like, that doesn't feel right for me. And I want to only move in places that feel good. Feel like I'm accepted for who I am, because I want to be the most authentic I can. And if someone doesn't see me and appreciate me for who I am, then they're just not for me, and that's okay. We kind of make it like they didn't want to be with you, like someone didn't choose you. And I tell my girls this all the time, like, no. And you can even say like, you're the prize. And that goes to everyone, both sides, men and women. You're the prize. The prize meaning that you are amazing within yourself. So do not settle for someone that doesn't see that. Doesn't mean you have to be mad at them. Doesn't mean a big dramatic deal. It just means like, move on. There's billions of people in this world. I know that's not as exciting as being dramatic about it and like distracting and making, revenge and all that like a big deal thing. And I know that's a lot of what's like maybe more popular right now, is just to be bitter. But I don't feel like it serves you to hold on to things like that. I don't feel like it's beneficial to you. And maybe for a minute, don't get me wrong, after that last relationship, I had like a minute of like, I didn't even want to be back with him or anything, but I did have my time where I was just like, I get it, but then let it go. Let it go. I get our ego gets wounded and we're like, I didn't even want to be with you anyways. And then you're the one, like that's kind of going around. But either way, like let it go. And then it is what it is. You didn't want them anyways. You just wanted them to choose you. And you wanted someone that's not aligned with you, not the one for you, to choose you because you haven't chose yourself. And I just want you to maybe sit with that. You could kick if you're mad at me for saying that truth. But I truly know now that I've evolved into this space is that you will know like who's aligned for you. And there's a reason they say like if they wanted to, they would, because when you truly think something is for you, you will go after it. That's not just in relationships, that's in life. That's why I'm doing this podcast, because I know that's what I'm meant to do. Like I can't just be nonchalant about it. Like no one that's ever achieved anything in their life was just like, kind of sounds all right. I kind of like it. I'm just used to it. It's fine. No, that's like not the energy that brings you the best things in life. And so I want you to kind of think on that, because I also reflected back to not only this whole pattern of like, I knew it wasn't right. I wasn't choosing me either. But also like I kind of was lying to myself. So I think back to those relationships and saying I love you to someone that I don't even know if I loved. And that's been like a interesting one for me. And I feel like the more I talk to people, the less I understand. I think it's just, love is such a different, like it's just so different for everyone and it feels different. And, there was a time, and I when I say this, I don't want it to feel like I'm taking away from any man that's been in my life that I've said it to, but I realized that like, I don't know if I really was ever truly like in love the way that I feel like it should feel. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I mean, even in the last relationship, I'm like, I don't know why I would say something I didn't mean. But I think when you're scrappling for wanting to feel loved, you don't really know. You're like, I guess this sounds great. And you just kind of roll with it. And it's almost like the fisherman. Again, you're like, well, I want to get fed. Like, love sounds great. A fish sounds great. Like, sure, we'll go with it. But it isn't really, you're lying to yourself. And that, when I realized that I was lying to myself for a really long time, that one was a hard pill to swallow. Because I think a lot of us think that certain relationships are more significant in our lives than they actually are. If you really started like unpacking them the way that I had, like breaking them down to the core and being like, was this ever really for me? And in some of them, there was instances where I'm like, the version of myself that I am now, and this is probably how I can see it so loudly, because sometimes you have to step out of something to look back and go, wow, don't really know what I was thinking about tolerating that. Like, I would never allow that disrespect in my life again. But I saw the evolution, right? I saw the evolution of me. I really unpacked like relationship to relationship and was like, oh, wow, I'm not shaming myself. I'm proud of myself for continuing to get a little bit more like clear on what was acceptable for my life. And I think sometimes when people say like, what's acceptable, like it's never like, you have every right to set boundaries and it's all about the communication of those boundaries, right? Like, it's not this naggy, like, well, you need to be like this and you need to say this and you need to do that and don't do that. It's literally like, this is what I need. And I feel like you were trying to do it, but that wasn't the way that I wanted to receive it. Or that felt good for me to receive it. So can we try it this way this time? And I feel like anyone in your life that truly cares about you would be very receptive to that kind of communication. And so as I've evolved in this, I've learned that it's truly important to just know your worth. Sounds so cliche, but really like know your worth and choose yourself every single time, because your time is literally the most valuable asset you have. And so when you're giving it to someone you already know you don't truly see yourself being with for a significant, and don't get me wrong, there's people, reason, season, lifetime, there's people that are there just for fun. And if that's your phase, I've been there in the mess. I get it. There are people that I allowed in my space and my time that I knew weren't going to be forever. And I had a great time and it was fun and I learned things and it was amazing. But if you're in a season where you're like, okay, I want to be really intentional about what I want from life, that's when you have to be like, so if I know that's my end goal and that's the intention I'm setting, then why am I staying where I know, in a place that I know is not meant for me? And for the first time since all of the mess that was my life and after the divorce, I feel like I'm in a place where maybe that could be my intention, which is crazy to say out loud. But the more I think about it, the more that the messy middle is no longer serving the person that I've become. And I think being self-aware and reflecting enough to go, okay, this is where I'm at. So if this is where I'm at and this is where I intend to be, then my actions and my decisions have to align with the person that's moving in that direction. Kind of like we talked about last time, but this is more the twist on relationships. And so there is a place where now I'm just choosing me, and it's so peaceful. And I want that for you if that's what you want. I think we all at the end of the day should choose ourselves. And the way that you can is when you see your patterns clearly, like I did when I reflected back and I was like, oh my gosh, wow. And if you know me, you know I'm a big Chat GPT girl. And I was literally like unpacking this. This is like hot off the press last night where I had this like, oh my gosh, I wanted them to choose me, but I didn't even really choose them. And why was I staying where I didn't want to be? Because I wasn't choosing me. It was this whole little thing. And then it was like the unlock. We're like, oh my gosh, figured it all out. And I think I might have plugged this before, but I did create this breaking the loop guide. And it's on my website. You can get it there. And I love it if you're new to ChatGPT, or at least using it for like self-reflection or in combination with therapy. It's a great guide to kind of like, I give you the prompts of how you want it to talk, like a therapist or whatever. And you can also just like, it goes through why you've stayed where you don't belong, where you know you shouldn't be. It asks questions. I give prompts that really like, why do you think that I'm staying in these relationships when I shouldn't be? And the thing I love about ChatGPT is when you really use it intentionally and tell it how you want to be spoken to, it will understand and speak to you in a way that is so good for you to self-reflect. Because the best part is, it's not like some friend that makes it's all awkward if they spit you the truth and you don't want to hear it. And then you're just like, okay, leave my house. ChatGPT, just put your phone down and you're done if you don't like what it has to say, you know? But if you're really opening your heart, you're like, usually when someone comes back to you and you're open, you're like, yeah, yep. And there has been so many times in this journey with me that I've literally had to be like, yeah, that was a you thing. That was a you thing this whole time. And sometimes I brought this up before, but sometimes that people are like, you always just kind of like put it on you. But it's not in a shameful way. I put it on me because I'm the only person I can control. I make decisions that control what my life looks like. No one else can impact my life the way that I can. So if I'm not self-aware enough to know how I'm moving through the world, it doesn't matter what everyone else is doing. And I truly believe that we create our reality by our thoughts and our actions and how we move through the world. And so if we don't understand why we're thinking the way we're thinking, why we're doing the things we're doing, we can't be very intentional. Gosh, I feel like I've said intentional like 12 times. I feel like it could be a drinking game or something. But I digress. So anyways, and if you don't drink, I'm just saying. Okay, so I digress there. But the other piece that I was thinking to kind of like shed a little bit of all of this, of me really just finally coming to a place where I'm choosing myself over everything else. It's so freeing, just to let you know how it feels. If you're teetering with taking that self-reflection journey, if you're teetering on why you feel stuck in the loops of not feeling chosen, choosing yourself is always going to be the W. Like, that's when you win. And then the rest just falls into place for you because you've already won. You're not out there competing to be competing to be the prize, or competing or trying to be chosen. You've put that all away because you're walking through the world like, I know my worth. I am valuable. I am choosing me, and I will just find someone that matches that energy. Someone out of 1 billion people in the world are going to choose you. Like, when people act like it's so hard, it's like, maybe I'm just a little delusional enough to believe that, like, I feel like that's pretty good odds. Like, one person out of like billions, and everyone's like, there's nobody out there. It's like, there's not 10 people in the world. Then I could kind of see where you're coming from. And I just say that to people to remind them that, like, you get back what you put out. So if that's your mindset, then you're right. I guess there isn't that many people. There's just only billions. I'm sure ChatGPT could tell you how many people are around your area. But the point is, when you choose yourself, it becomes less about finding that person and more about doing what makes you happy and how you move through life. And then when you do find someone, like back to my poem on the blog, it says then it's just like two happy fishermen. They get to go out on the lake, enjoy the view, and cast a line side by side. Sounds like a dream to me. It's just an easier way. All right, so I will end this by saying that I definitely am at a place where I choose me first, and I challenge you to look within and say, where am I not choosing myself first? Because then the next time love arrives for you, it will feel completely different. Because it's not in this, I need. It's that it's a perfectly beautiful compliment to the life you've already built for yourself and the happiness. And I get it. Like I already hear like in the back of my head, like some of my girls like, yeah, I know I do love myself, but I just want someone that can like change the tires and do this. And like, girl, I hear you. And like for men, it's like, I just want someone to like cook and just be calm and da-da-da, whatever. Hear ya. Of course. But I heard this put a different way. It said you get what people always say. I know my friends have like said this to me when I tell them this. They're like, well, they always say you find it when you're not looking, but I'm not looking, blah, blah, blah. Okay, maybe you're not looking. Here's the better quote. You find what you want from life when you're not focused on the absence of it. When we're focused on the absence of something from our life, that's not when we attract it. When we love and choose ourselves, love isn't absent. I mean, I feel like that's a mic drop, but, and I'm just yapping off the riff. But all right, so I'm going to end this season by saying that I love y'all. I'm so excited. I'm going to have a special guest, my first guest. So I hope y'all are super excited about that. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Definitely follow, rate the pod 5 stars because you love it so much and you're just like, oh my gosh, I just love it. And then you could even give your great feedback on how much your soul has changed and you're so happy now. No, but really, I appreciate all that. It means a lot to me to get more visibility. I definitely am here to make people realize how important they are because that's you. And the more people, the better. Also, last little ask from the group. I had this opportunity where the podcast was nominated for this podcast awards, People's Choice, and it's like best female hosted. So I'm gonna put the link on my website and then maybe like on my Instagram too, like in the links. But it would mean so much to me if you would take the time and just vote it. You only have to you don't have to vote all the categories. You could literally just log in, make an account quickly and just vote for me and move on. But if there's other ones you want to vote for, go ahead. But there's a lot. So that's why I said it. So it could take you 5 minutes, which would mean the absolute world to me. I appreciate y'all so much for listening for this journey. If you're watching on YouTube, I hope you love the studio. It feels so good to be in a new place. And again, thank you for listening to Wandering the Wild Mess with Heather Morgan. You matter.